My buddy Steve just told me the Maffetone method doesn't work, and I have to agree. First, let me tell you a story, and I will explain why this is true and it's not true. So you decided to use the Maffetone method, and you're promised you're going to be able to run faster, you're going to be able to run longer, you're not going to pick up any injuries, everything's going to go smooth, right? Wrong. I'm spilling the beans on the secret training rule that separates elite athletes from the rest. So what if I told you that running slow will make you a faster runner by running at the same low heart rate for each run that you do? What if I told you that might not work? And what if I told you that after a few months your running times will stop improving? Yeah, I know, because it happened to me, and I want to share what happened and how you can stop it from happening to you. I did get faster by 3 minutes per kilometer, but there's a secret training rule that I swear by, and it's called the 20% MAF training rule that might surprise you, or it may not. Look, this rule has been around for a long time, and I'm sure that some of you will already know. However, it's about training at a low intensity to maximize your aerobic development. Here's how it works. You take 180 beats per minute, subtract your age from that number, and the result is the heart rate you should aim to stay at under during your training sessions for each one of your runs. Do this for 3 to 6 months and enjoy the journey. It's going to be filled with lots of walking, shuffling, walk running, and running. You will improve, however, you need to be consistent at it and run for about 5 to 8 hours per week to see the results. Now, each month you'll have to do a MAF test to see if you're improving from the previous month. Later in the video, I'll talk to you about how to do a MAF test. At some point in your MAF training, you will notice that you will become stuck, running not improving, and this is where people start to say, MAF training will not make me a faster runner. If that happens, you will have to do this next. After 3 to 6 months, what you may notice is you start to plateau, you're not improving anymore. And then you sit there and think MAF doesn't work. Now, it's not that MAF doesn't work, it means that your body has become accustomed and acclimatized to the type of stimulus that you've been putting it through. Your body has adapted to the running, to the run walking or shuffling or whatever it is you're doing. Look, no runner wants to flatline. They don't want to see their running just kind of like go nowhere, right? You want to continuously see improvements. So what do you do, right? So when people say the Maffetone method doesn't work, it's not going to make you faster, you're never going to be able to PR, what do? You need to change things up a little bit now. So for the next couple of weeks, what I would suggest, and again, I did this, 448, 450. 163. A little too fast. It's going uphill. 32 minutes. More minutes.
Tell me what you see inside. Not gonna ask you twice. Not looking for your lies. Tell me, do you wanna go?
7.81, 508 pace. Average heart rate, probably too high. 162. It's to be expected. Every day that you go out and run, you're making yourself a better runner. Just the way it is. The more miles you do, stay injury free, keep the heart rate low, and every now and then do those tempo runs and those track speed sessions. Yeah, it's a good recipe. Is start adding in some tempo runs, some faster workouts in this. Maybe you do some 400 meter repeats of the track. Maybe you do some 800 meters, whatever it is. I would suggest do it for a month, right? Obviously, you're still doing MAF runs the remainder of the week. Maybe you have one session where you run speed work, right? And then, or maybe you have 2 sessions where you do speed work, or maybe you're doing hills one day and threshold training another day, and then the rest is all easy running. Maybe that's what you do. But at the end of the day, when you do that MAF test the following month, you should start to see your body kind of kick into a different gear and things start to improve again. And then continuously do that until you start to plateau again. And then add in some speed work and see where it goes. Now, after a while, you're like, okay, I may be conditioned, I may be in a better position that I can start adding in some marathon training or half marathon training or whatever it is, depending on what you're training for. So this is just your first phase, where you're base building. Then you can switch over into different types of specific training for whatever goal race that it is that you're running. I think the biggest piece of advice I would have to tell you is you have great potential. Don't be stuck doing the slow grind every single day. Once you've built up to a certain point, you need to graduate and you need to pay attention to what your numbers are coming back with. So don't be afraid of speed, because we've got slow twitch muscle fibers and we've got fast twitch muscle fibers. And in your training plan, it calls for different types of training. So that way it'll cross you over that finish line of the 10K, half marathon or marathon. And you want to be in a good position, and you've done everything that you can to see your potential. Look, I love using the Maffetone method, and I think it works extremely well. Heart rate training has been amazing. And I have been able to run faster for longer, and I've been able to cover some really long distances, like 50 miles. That's a long distance to travel on your feet in a race. However, there is another side to this whole Maffetone thing, where people say, hey, you can get faster by running at this low heart rate. Hey, I get it. I'm one of those guys. And if you stick with it, you can see some awesome results like I have over the past years, like losing, 30 pounds, being able to run 3 minutes faster, being able to run an 80-kilometer race, 50-miler. What if I told you there's another way that you can get to the same results and maybe a little bit faster? Look, I've been where you are. I've gone through the trenches. I've tried to figure this stuff out. Heart rate training is a freaking amazing way to train, but it is kind of cumbersome. Before I started using the Maffetone method, I hadn't really paid a lot of attention to heart rate training. However, over the last number of years, I've used it quite a bit, and I've seen some really cool results from it. There are other ways to maybe get to a place where you're running faster at a same low heart rate, but not necessarily struggling to just continue to shuffle along. Like, I know it can be kind of boring and upsetting to kind of start off using this method. I know, because I've been there. Now, the longer I used it, obviously I improved, I got better, and I was able to run faster. I've had some people mention to me in the past saying, Dave, the Maffetone method is not the fastest way to be able to get faster. And look, I'm no coach, right? I'm self-trained. This is just what I do. But I have talked to others, and I've listened to what they've talked about. And yeah, I do agree that there are other ways to be able to get faster. However, there are multiple ways to build a house. You can build a house faster than the traditional way, right? You could do the 3D way. You could do the modular house, right? They build it in a factory. There's so many different ways to do it. Same thing with running. There's multiple methods. And for you just have to figure that out. Like, what is going to be the best method for you based on your abilities, based on your physical fitness, where you are in your strength. These are important factors to take into consideration, because if not, man, you could be in for a world of hurt. Just don't get faster overnight. We actually have to put in the time. We have to do the distance. We have to put in a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. to get our legs moving, right? Now, if you're carrying weight, like if you've got the extra weight on you, that can be hard, right? That can be hard if you're trying to run. I know what it's like to carry an extra 50 pounds or even an extra 70 pounds. It sucks. It's hard. It's flopping around, right? It's not the greatest. I feel awful. I'm sweating more. I just feel like, why am I doing this, right? Like it's awful. If we're talking about weight, you gotta change how you eat. Like you can drop the weight by running slow, right? You can burn the fat, you can burn it off you. However, it'll all come back if you haven't changed your diet. I know, because it's happened to me in the past. So what I'm trying to tell you is, does the Maffetone method work? Yes. Is there another way to train? Yes, there's a lot of them. Heart rate training is just one way. Another method is 80-20. 80% Maffetone, paced running, zone 2 running, slow and easy, and 20% faster. When you start adding in a tempo run or a threshold run, depending on where you are, you call it different things, right? You could have hill work in there like I'm currently doing right now. You can have track work where you're maybe starting off doing 100 meter repeats. Maybe you work your way up to 200, then 400, and then you get to the age-old Yasso 800s. That's hard, extremely hard, and you just literally want to throw up at the end of it, but it works, right? You're working your fast twitch muscle fibers, right? When you're running zone 2, when you're running really low heart rate training, you're using the slow twitch fibers. What are you training for? Like what mechanism, what system are you training? And these are questions that I ask myself all the time. And right now it's just like, I'm kind of base building. Okay, cool. All right, that's kind of done. Then you work into this 80-20 method and it's like, okay, that's good, but when's my race? Like when's that run gonna happen, right? Because sometimes we start training and you're like, I don't know what I'm training for. And so we just idly go out there and start doing our thing, right? And so that's when people start saying, well, the Maffetone method, doesn't work because I just got to shuffle along. Yeah, okay, you got to shuffle along. You got to put in your dues. You got to build up an aerobic base. And that's a good thing. But after that, then you have to start changing things up a little bit to start seeing a little bit more potential. So to do a MAF test, what you'll need to do is find a track and you're going to run around it. You're either going to do 3 miles or you're going to do 6 miles, one of the two. And what you will notice when you're running, the time it takes you to complete each mile will get slower and slower and slower. And that's normal. That's what should happen. Now, if you do that once a month, what you should notice is the times should get faster and faster and faster. It should still drop as you go, but you should notice that you're improving, you're getting faster. Now, if that is not something that you can do, if you don't have a track or have accessibility to a track nearby, what I would suggest you do is just run a route that you would run just to do your MAF test and then see if you get faster. Run the exact same route, run the same route every month, perform your MAF test and see if you're getting faster over time. Obviously, you'll have your baseline and then things will get slower and slower and slower, and then go to the next month and do the exact same route. Now, the one thing that I would suggest, and then again, this is speaking from experience, try not to do your MAF test on a route that you run all the time, because what may happen is you may get stuck in this competition with yourself to say, hey, every single day or every couple of days or every week, I should be getting faster and faster. And that is counterproductive. because you get, like, honestly, I would get stressed out about that because I'd be like, oh, I just got to get a little bit faster this week. So don't go down that road. Just do it once a month. And this is your MAF training route that you only use for that purpose. Like, we're never meant to just continuously every single day run slow, because eventually what happens is you hit a plateau and you don't improve, right? You just kind of your body seems to adapt. And as your body adapts to the training stimulus, then all of those gains that you were seeing kind of come to a screeching halt, and they literally flatline. I mean, really. I think all of us are capable of doing more. But I also think that some of us, well, me specifically, I worry. I worry about my foot. And I worry about my knee. These are things I've been worrying about. Like, it's been 3 days since my long run on Sunday. It'll probably be 4 days tomorrow because it's crazy busy. And maybe 5 days before I run again. I don't like thinking about that because it sucks at the end of the day. I had to get out of that wind. It was a little too crazy out there. I don't know, it goes from summer one day to like to winter the next. It's so cold. So if you have doubts as a runner that using the Maffetone method, zone 2, or running slow isn't gonna make you a faster runner, then I'm gonna have to say, think again. Because I know it works. There are a few things that you have to do to change it up a little bit. Like, you're not always gonna be running slow. So I would say the key components to making the Maffetone method work for you would be running consistency, your diet changes, your stress management, your sleeping, and your mileage. How long you run. It seems like a lot. It really does. I think if you just focus on doing the tasks at hand, I think will help you. I had doubts when I started this whole method, and I proved myself wrong. I proved that it does work, but I've also proven in past videos that you can't just run slow all the time. You will have to adapt. You will have to add in your other workouts to work on your fast twitch muscle fibers. Okay, it's just a reality of it, right? And to be able to run longer and faster, some of your long runs may have to not just be long, slow runs. They may actually have to be faster, okay? Like, you're gonna have to push yourself on some of these workouts to be able to run at race pace, even faster than race pace. Like, your training should be harder than what you're running on race day, right? You're trying to really get the body and to push it through some of these boundaries that we have, right? That's why training is so important. Again, I'm no coach, right? I'm none of that. But from my past experience going through all of these things, trying to get a faster 10K, man, you gotta run fast to be able to do that. Yes, the base running, base building is important, but man, muscle, twitch, fibers, like, you know, they matter, right? So yeah, you're gonna have to do some work, but you will get faster. So yes, the Maffetone method works, hands down. However, it works until it doesn't work anymore, and then you have to change it up a little bit because your body will have adapted to the training stimulus. So you need to then push your body out of that to be able to get to the next level, and then the next level. You're always having to level up. And if you can run faster on some of those workouts, on some of those longer runs as you go, right? Because if you're running a half marathon, if you're running a marathon, okay, you want to be able to be running, yeah, but you're running faster, but your heart rate's going to govern where you're at, and you're not going to be redlining it for the whole entire race, right? I don't know if anyone can do it, because I know I can't. I can do a good portion of it, redlining at the end, but at the beginning, you don't want to do it. You don't want to burn out, right? So again, your training will be dictated based on what you plan on running. Look, if you just want to run for the heck of running and be happy with it, that's cool, right? Go out and find some wicked trails. I mean, I could take you on a number of them, which I may do, right? That's what I like to do. I like to hit the trails, but they're so muddy right now. I don't want to wipe out and get hurt. I'm already dealing with plantar fasciitis and a weird kind of knee thing. I think it's like my connective chain that I'm working on, foam rolling and all that kind of stuff, and just stretching and, again, strength training. It's my weakest point. But I'll get there. Like I always say, get out and run. And if you want to know more about the Maffetone method, this is a pretty cohesive guide that I put out there. So check this video out right here.